What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Fightful.com podcast, September 26th edition, brought to you by DraftBeast.com and on it. Guys, go to DraftBeast.com. Have yourself a ball, losing your ass, losing your money to me at Daily Fantasy. Go there, check it out, support the Fightful.com podcast. Also on it, you hear me talk about their great equipment, their apparel, their supplements. I take New Mood, Alpha Brain, and Shroom Tech on a regular basis, and I love it. About to start taking some more of their supplements as I make that wrestling cut back down to 175, 170. Not doing those lower weights anymore, but on it's going to help me get there. Go to our podcast page, Fightful.com/podcast. Click any of those podcast pages. You'll see that on it link. Click it. You'll open up just a treasure trove of sales, my friends, and you can support the show. Oh, tonight's Raw, boy, did it have some competition. Monday Night Football, which I didn't watch. The debate, which I did watch. It was covered by our own Alex Pawlowski, who is joining us. And also joining us tonight is Trina. Trina, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm so good. I'm really excited to be on the show.
Now, before we get started, tell the people a little bit where they can follow you on Twitter as well as your podcast.
Yeah. So I'm at the Marky Mark on Twitter. And I co-host a podcast called The Last Mark Standing. My partner's name is Dare to Be Damien at Twitter. And that's the number 2, the letter B, Damien. And we do The Last Mark Standing podcast. We talk about bigger issues outside of wrestling. So we take, things like sexism and steroids and all sorts of mental illness, like all sorts of big issue topics, and we sort of relate it to wrestling and show people how wrestling kind of fits in to everybody's everyday life. So
when have steroids ever been in wrestling?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know anything about that. Alex, I am pleased that you did not quit your job tonight.
I'm close.
I'm thrilled. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch a lot of Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the debate was the primary thing that I watched, but I did watch all of Raw, but I didn't care about a lot of it. I'll say that much. They came in, well, they tried to come in hot.
They tried.
They started off with Roman Reigns versus Rusev. Now, Alex, we talked about this last week. This is going to be a really interesting week to read the numbers that go into Raw. What did you think when you saw Roman Reigns versus Rusev kicking off Raw for the United States Championship?
Well, I thought that they were thinking, well, hey, we're going to give you a reason to watch Raw tonight instead of the other stuff, because we're going to come in hot and show you Roman versus Rusev. But they just had Roman come out, and everyone started booing him. It was like you have no idea what your audience wants to see. And then the whole thing started out with it was just Rusev putting him in a headlock or a bear hug or whatever, and it just didn't. It was so slow to start. It was really, really boring for at least the first half of the match, and it was just not the way to get people invested in what was going on.
Trina, what did you think of the match itself?
I was really surprised at how long it went. Because I agree with Alex. It definitely started out really slow, and then, because I actually came in a little late, so I was fast forwarding a little bit, and I'm like, okay, no cold open. We're going to open with a match, so we're going to do this. We're going to try and do this right. And the beginning part was very, very slow, and then I'm like, wow, this is still going. I'm actually up to date. I was able to come into Raw at 7:25 and catch up by the time I got home, because it was just and you can see it when I was fast forwarding, how slow and plodding the whole thing was.
Listen to these Central Time Zone jerks I have on this show that aren't up until 11:10 watching Monday Night Raw. God.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
10 is enough.
And the UFC has no mercy on us East Coasters, not at all. Yeah. The match went long. I didn't think it was the worst thing in the world. It never really is with Roman Reigns and Rusev. I like them both, but it's just a matter of caring. They did the double count out, so another non-finish that we get on a WWE, a big match in WWE. Roman Reigns avoiding a chair shot by hitting the spear on Rusev, and then instead of attacking Rusev, he sets the chair down And it's weird. I know he's not lazy, but when I saw it, I was like, you're just a lazy son of a bitch, Roman. Like, what are you doing?
No.
What do you think they were trying to accomplish here, Trina, by just having him do this and then go and attack Rusev with the chair right after?
So, yeah, well, the heat was pretty electric. I think Alex probably, felt that too, because that Cincy crowd just really wanted that heel turn. They were begging for it. So it's like the sitting down on the chair was just, it was the theme of the night was a lot of like impotent rage. So I felt like when he sat down in the chair, I was like, oh, okay, here we go again. This is, I don't know how I can can I say like bad words on this? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Like it was another blue ball moment. There were many blue ball moments throughout the show, and Roman taking the chair, teasing that he was going to hit him, and then finally sitting on it was just another blue ball moment, and a series of blue ball moments in the night.
Alex, this show was 50 minutes from my front door, and I looked at the current state of Raw, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm all set. I think I'm all good on Raw. I don't think I'll go, because before the show, I can't count the number of people. I can. Probably a half a dozen people on my Facebook feed were giving away free tickets to the show, either because they didn't want to go or maybe their company were giving tickets. I don't know, but any lasting remarks in regards to this segment?
Oh, well, I'll tell you this. The thing is that you had Roman set the chair down and sit there and hold the belt up over his head. And then just as Rusev begins to stir from semi-consciousness and crawl out of the ring, acquiescing to defeat, then Roman goes, oh, no, you don't get off that easy, bub. And then he hits him with the chair. The man's a psychopath. He belongs in an institution somewhere. Like, that's
in what world is he the good guy?
Yeah,
he is not the good guy.
Like, he hit him in the back. That's the equivalent of you never shoot a guy in the back. Like, that's basically what he did. He hit him with the chair in the back because he was leaving. And then, did you notice that the look that Lana gave Rusev? Like, are they plotting another thing where they're going to break up because Lana's not satisfied with the way her man fights or something? It was really, it made Rusev look so weak and so just, you could make that guy into the top heel in the entire business, and they don't feel like it. They just want to make him look like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the common theme of Rusev's career for the last 12 months, unfortunately. I'm going to collectively describe this Sheamus Cesaro situation as it happened throughout the night, because there's really not a damn reason to split it up. We had the in-ring segment where Sheamus and Cesaro are, they're confused about what happened. They're chirping back and forth to each other in regards to how the match finished. As you wrote, Mick Foley tells the entire crowd to get in the ring and kiss his arse. He was not happy with people who weren't happy about the finish to last night's match. Now, this is coming from a guy who I can't – so many times he whined and cried about the Daniel Bryan booking and the way that women were booked. It's weird, but now WWE's writing they're the ones that are signing his checks, so understandable, I guess. He calls Sheamus and Cesaro down to the ring. They argued a bunch. Mick Foley did what we had predicted that he would do. He put them together to get a tag team title shot. Trina, were you surprised by this in any way, shape, or form?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that you guys had predicted that. But then
you watch the show more.
I do watch the show. I totally do. I've been really busy. But I totally didn't predict that. But then once it happened, it seemed, so easy. Because that's pretty much the WWE's MO, is that they do something and then we're like, once they do it, you're like, oh, okay, I should have figured that out before. I think, I was really shocked about it, but I definitely feel at some point I tweeted out that I felt like they're trying to create another KO Sami Zayn situation with these guys. Like they're hoping to capture some of that fire.
They had a backstage segment where the two were not happy, and they weren't happy in the ring either, but they weren't happy about it. And Mick Foley went off on them, and I love this. I love this part, Alex. It was one of those situations, and I've complained over the last several weeks about how sometimes when Mick Foley goes off on a tangent, it doesn't seem real, but it did seem real. It seemed like he really believed that these two guys would work better together than they were apart. And I loved where he said, I can't afford to have you two face each other because then I'll lose one of you two. I thought that was awesome. I thought it was realistic because these guys do beat the living shit out of each other. They really, really do, to the point to where they got this best of 7, at least the 7th match, over to a certain degree, over to the point to where people were upset that they didn't have a resolution. I thought Mick Foley did an awesome job here. I thought Sheamus did an awesome job here. I thought Cesaro did an awesome job here. So Mick Foley really led the two, and they followed with their body language and things like that. Alex, does this get you a little more interested in a Cesaro-Sheamus tag team?
Yes and no. Yes, because I think they're doing it really well. No, because I'm cynical about why they're doing it. That Raw looks at SmackDown, sees an odd couple team of Slater and Rhino working and getting over so big on SmackDown, and says, hey, let's put these two guys together who have nothing better to do, and we'll make them into an odd couple tag team. Just like it worked over there, it'll work over here. And that's not the reason to do it. But I think it's working so well so far. We'll get into their jobber match where I didn't think it worked. But the backstage thing with them and Mick worked really, really well, particularly because I'm a huge fan of the angle they're working with Mick Foley, where he's in way over his head and really wants to keep this job, but he's not good at it. And he's trying so hard not to lose his shit because everything's crumbling down around him. That's compelling to me. And this is kind of a part of that. And I liked the idea that he said, mismatched tag teams can work. He stopped short of saying, remember me and The Rock? Because that's what we were all thinking. And that's what Michael Cole had to say after the segment. But I wanted him to drop that in the moment. But there was a moment there backstage where it looked like Cesaro and Sheamus looked at each other and said, hey, this could work. But then, of course, they had to do the thing where as they were walking to the ring, they have to be the one in front of the other one. It's like it's 5th grade humor, and I can't watch any more of that on my Monday Night Raw anymore. So I am open to where this is headed, and right now I'm cautiously optimistic.
Trina, what do you think about them teaming up and their little jobber squash-a-thon they had tonight?
Oh, I called it. I actually said that the greatest way to prove your masculinity is just to have a pissing contest. So that's what I felt like this jobber match was. I agree with Alex. I think there's chemistry there. The backstage segments really prove that there could be something here. But that match was a mess. I didn't like all the going back and forth and the showboating and things like that. And I don't even think. I think Cesaro had a hard time. Trying to show that, I'm trying to show you up, Sheamus, but also selling as a wrestler at the same time, because I don't really feel like he was selling anything that was going on. Like he looked bored to me. So that was part of the reason why that match really didn't work. All that chemistry that we saw backstage was gone.
I would like if their natural competitive nature that these two have leads to them being a successful team, like they just take turns beating the living shit out of somebody more than the other one does. And that leads to their success. But unfortunately, here's why I don't know if they'll be a success. Demolition is a part of this lawsuit.
Oh.
And New Day is at 400 days as tag team champions. That is 78 days shy of Demolition, which would put them at about maybe a WWE roadblock in December 18th in Pittsburgh, I believe, as maybe being when the earliest they could lose it. Unless Mick Foley says, I'm not giving you this title shot until I feel that you are ready, and it's like a build-up thing, which I don't think they'll do because a slow burn is not something that happens in a good way on this show. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll go with that as well. Either way, by the way, New Day did retain their titles over Gallows and Anderson. I liked this match. I thought it was fun. Kofi Kingston, Jesus Christ, he got split open.
Crimson Mask.
Here's something I worry about here. On the show, I have spoken out about Kentucky, their athletic commission, and the way they do things. Like, being a pro wrestler in Kentucky is a pain in the ass. You have to get licensed. EC3 told me one time that he had to drive from Louisville to Frankfurt and get his license before he was allowed to take bumps to train. You have to get a wrestler's license before you take a bump to train to be a pro wrestler, which really defeats the purpose, in my opinion. They've got a lot of rules against blood. It's why WWE won't run television in Kentucky, because they would have to stop the match, and they don't want that. They can't afford to do that with live television nonstop. So my fear is that Kentucky saw this as they're getting pressure from Louisville and Lexington to relax these rules, so Louisville and Lexington can make more money off of these events. And they're saying, well, we don't want that. Or we don't need that here. So WWE can just go to Indianapolis and Cincinnati, which they did the last 2 nights. And I worry about that. I hate that, because it makes my state lose money. I hate that shit. I would much rather be able to drive to Lexington for Monday Night Raw than Cincinnati. No offense to Cincinnati. Either way, Trina, your thoughts on the match, your thoughts on the direction of Gallows and Anderson, who came into the WWE with a lot of buzz and now are just a couple of guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a little disappointing for a lot of people. Obviously, people who followed them in New Japan, and people that were excited for possibly a Bullet Club in the WWE. Obviously, that's not happening anytime soon. And I think tonight, everybody thought, if you looked at Twitter, if you looked at the internet, everybody thought that the New Day was going to drop the belts tonight. That tonight was the night that finally the club goes over, they become the champions, and it didn't happen. I really felt like this match neutralized them even more than they've already been neutralized, and it made me feel like, okay, maybe they might actually give Sheamus and Cesaro a chance to have a run, because if we're going to keep going with this New Day thing, I don't know. Let's go all the way.
Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, everyone thought that, Gallows and Anderson were going to win tonight, but then again, everybody thought they were going to win
last night,
and the month before, and the month before that, all the way back to that 4-way dance at Money in the Bank. Everyone was like, okay, so here's the time. We're going to get Guns and Gallows are going to get their shot here, and it hasn't happened. And now, I mean, they're at the back of the line. I mean, Cesaro and Sheamus get the next shot. Who are Gallows and Anderson going after? Enzo and Cass? I mean, there's only so, because the title picture is the New Day and whoever the New Day are facing, and that's it. Everybody else is several rungs below that. I don't know what they do from here. I liked the thing they did for one day where it was them and Dana Brooke. I thought that was a cool pairing, but maybe Gallows' wife put a kibosh on that. But I mean, I thought that was dynamic. It was pretty cool. I liked the idea of Dana Brooke being this, this muscular chick who's like a beefy valet for these dudes. I thought that was kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff they can do with them, but right now I feel like when it runs its course, the WWE just kind of gives up on people for like a month and then comes with something new. So I don't know where they're headed.
Bayley crushed a jobber. She was really bad. The jobber was, not Bayley.
Yeah.
This reminds me of every independent female wrestler that somebody tells me I have to watch, and then I go and watch, and I'm like, why the hell did you tell me to watch this person? They have people on the roster at the Performance Center who are much, much better than whoever this woman was. No offense to her. Maybe she's new. Maybe she's just not that good. I don't know. I don't care. But she just wasn't that good. Bayley was fine, of course. This was just a way of getting her on TV on a 3-hour show, and Bayley's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Trina, your thoughts on the use of these jobber matches on Raw? We're seeing a hell of a lot more of them.
Oh, yeah. No, and it's always surprising because, like at first I think we thought there was going to be a theme here with Nia Jax and Braun Strowman always fighting jobbers. That would have been awesome. But then they just kept throwing jobber matches in every once in a while. And now it's just, like it's a surprise whenever it happens. I think tonight it definitely was used to keep Bayley relevant, since, the main focus is on Charlotte and Sasha Banks. And so let's keep building Bayley up. And then Nia Jax actually tweeted, she's like, well, what about me? And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, well, what happened to this? Like, it would have been great if they had kept that trajectory going of Nia Jax destroying jobbers. I would have loved that. I don't care. I'll get it for 3 months. I don't care. It would have been amazing.
Alex, I got to ask you, were you disappointed that Bo Dallas didn't get a squash match tonight?
I was. I continue to wait for my dream team of Bo Dallas and Braun Strowman together running a poetry slam where Bo Dallas teaches Braun Strowman the finer points of verse, and then they team up like Master Blaster and squash a jobber tag team. But until I get that, I will not be satisfied. I missed both of them actually.
And by the way, the Bo Dallas squash match last week, boy, I do the YouTube rankings every week. That one was in the shitter. That one was real, like 300,000 views. It was real bad.
Right.
It was terrible.
Because there's no conceivable direction for what they're doing with either of these guys. But at least Braun Strowman has the novelty of being huge and, saying "roar" a lot. But Bo is a guy we've been trained to think of as a joke. So until you give us a reason to think that he's not just squashing. I mean, to me, it feels like they're building him up to feed him to somebody. Now, that might be Braun. It might be Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Like, Roman's going to need, people to fight who aren't Rusev, and that might be one of them. But yeah, they don't have a direction. Braun has been doing this squashing stuff since the Monday after the draft, and he hasn't appeared on pay-per-view yet. Like, not even on a pre-show. Like, haven't.
Well, Enzo and Cass were in the main event tonight, and they weren't even on pay-per-view yesterday. So
right, it's a very odd thing that there's a lot of stop and go storylines.
So we had this segment with Mick Foley and Stephanie, and it was weird because it was good, but it would have been really, 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 really good if it didn't happen like all the damn time. Like if she didn't just run everybody down all the time. If this were like a rarity and that she ran Mick Foley down, it would have been really awesome. I still think it was good, but it would have been really awesome if this didn't happen all the time. Mick confronted Stephanie about Triple H showing up in that cameo, but not showing up. And by that cameo, I mean after Clash of Champions. He asked her how everything went, and she said good, yada, yada. And they rode off in a limo together. And Mick says, Mick questions that. And Stephanie, as you put, Alex, runs him down for being terrible at his job and said that she made me feel sorry for Mick Foley. Alex, she did make me feel sorry for Mick Foley. And lately, it's been weird because it's not been easy to feel bad for Mick Foley.
Right.
It feels like he gets what he deserves, but not in this segment. It did make me feel bad for him.
Like the whole thing with Mick is that he is objectively horrible at being a general manager, but we still love Mick Foley. And even if we go, hey, Mick, you're bad at your job, there's still the thing where nobody likes to see this guy get completely run down by Stephanie. And the thing was that none of the things that she was saying were wrong, really. She was just saying them in a Stephanie McMahon tone, which we all hate. So it was very effective. And I agree with you. In a vacuum, this is a great segment. Great. Not good, great. But taken in context of the fact that this happens twice a show, every show on Monday, this is just a really good version of that. And all the other ones before have kind of soured me on this. It's like, Stephanie McMahon is, the girl who cried emasculation. Like, eventually it's just not going to mean anything anymore. And, even when she does it really, really well, we've seen you do it before, Steph, to this guy every week. And now it's like it's not important anymore. But this can start the trend of something really building for him. Like him just muttering, I'm sorry to her, as he like slowly backs out of the room. It crushed me. I felt really bad for him. So where are you going to go with this? Are you going to have this like be a one-off thing and forget all about it next week? Probably.
Well,
but
here's the thing.
Build on it. Let's see.
In order to pay it off, he's either got to do worse at his job or he's got to do really good at his job. And him doing really good at his job would require the show to maybe be good.
Yeah, it's true. It would require Roman Reigns to stop getting gift opportunities. And yeah, it would just be, who knows?
You know what Roman Reigns reminds me of, guys? He reminds me of the guy who never moved on from high school. He still has the Shield music and the Shield gear, and he does all the same stuff.
Yeah, he's Uncle from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, he's going to toss a pigskin over their mountains. And, you know, if Vince had started him in the WWE Championship picture all along, things sure would be different. Well, he tried, and he failed. Trina, your thoughts on Stephanie McMahon? This segment in particular, how's Saddle Mick going for you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it hit me in the gut too, because we all love Mick. Obviously, we don't like seeing him being put in this position. And I think compared to the other segments where he was featured tonight, it just all was lumped together and just made him look really like the sad, tragic figure. I mean, he was ineffective all night, pretty much. And Stephanie yelling at him just sort of put the icing on the cake for that. Which, I mean, you know, if this was going to be going in the right direction, I'd like to see Mick turn it around, because we all know he's a genius. He's a New York Times best-selling author. I mean, he's capable of turning a show around. Whether they can go in that direction, who knows? I don't have a lot of faith. But I also found it really interesting that in the other room of my house, the debates were going on. And so to have Stephanie and Mick going at it on my TV screen and sort of hearing what was going on during the debates, I found that really interesting. That, like, the fact that they chose to use a segment like this on a night like tonight.
We had a couple of cruiserweight matches as well. We had Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann versus Lince Dorado and Drew Gulak, which some of these names were surprising. And Tony Nese, who did fantastic against TJ Perkins. Now, the Perkins-Nese one, my city of Cincinnati really let me down with the CM Punk chants. I thought this was one of the better cruiserweight matches I've seen on the main roster thus far. Unfortunately, if you bring them in cold, you don't really – you can show them two-minute little – or like maybe 1 minute little clips, but, you know, maybe build these guys up. Maybe do something. Just – it's such a cold intro. It's such a really, really cold intro, Trina. What did you think of the cruiserweight action, the decision to bring in some of these guys who didn't know were going to have anything to do with the main roster?
Yeah.
And are you excited to see maybe some other people that we don't know of?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I was super into the Cruiserweight Classic, and I've met a lot of these guys at indie shows, and so this is a really exciting time if you are a smaller indie wrestler. And I was a little disappointed that they ended up pairing up Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander. Both of those guys, I think, can stand on their own. It was cool to see, tag Cruiserweight action. I think that match was received a lot better than TJ and Tony Nese. And so, that was exciting, but I was disappointed because I want to see them in singles action, and I want them both to sort of, rise to the occasion. With Tony Nese and TJ Perkins, there are two things here. I agree with the cold introduction is really harsh for them because Tony Nese is fantastic. And there's no context or anything. He just shows up. And I feel like they're really sort of weakening TJ as the second week as like the champion, with having Brian Kendrick backstage, and he didn't look that strong tonight against Tony. Tony Nese looked fantastic. And so I made a comment. I was like, TJ Perkins is almost comical at this point. He's almost like the Cam Newton of the WWE. It's like, he's talented, but like you can't take him seriously, and it was a little weird. I don't know what they're doing with him, what the direction they're going to go, but I don't think they booked him to look very strong tonight.
I don't think they booked a lot of the Cruiserweight division to look right as of yet. Alex, I know you covered the Cruiserweight Classic. Your thoughts on this and the surprise of bringing in a Tony Nese, Dorado, and Gulak?
Well, Dorado was on Main Event last week. He had a match with Rich Swann.
Was he?
Yeah,
you would know that. I would.
Yeah, I cover it. So, but it was for anybody who has Hulu. I suggest go to Main Event. It's the first match of the night. 10 minutes long. It's good. Swan and Dorado are really good together because they tagged together for a while, so they know each other's stuff and can really work together. But Dorado has been here, but it's the first time on Raw. It was weird to see him paired with Gulak. Like, I would think Gulak and Nice would be a great tag team together. They have a similar kind of aesthetic to them. They're just guys who don't screw around, which is cool. Dorado, I think, would pair really well with Swan because they both like to have fun. As basically, that is the only thing, the characteristic of Rich Swann when they introduce him. He sure does like to have fun, which is a great way to bury your Cruiserweight division. But the whole thing is that these guys could get over, but I feel like the Raw viewership as a whole doesn't trust it because they've been taught over years of watching Raw that little guys don't matter. Even the guy that they got behind who was a little guy, Daniel Bryan, they were still force-fed over and over and over and again. He's not worth your time. He's a B-plus player. So if Daniel Bryan is a B-plus player, then what do we have here for these guys we've never seen before? And TJ Perkins is not being booked well. They're really making it look like Brian Kendrick is the star of the division, and it's only a matter of time before he winds up with the belt. It's kind of distressing. I mean, the CM Punk chants just really hurt my heart. Like, these people need to just allow for let what they're doing affect you. And for the most part, the only one who's really getting a reaction consistently is Cedric Alexander, and with good reason. He's amazing, and I think they can figure out a way of really making him shine, allowing him more time to do stuff. And I think he might be the one who can save this, but other than that, I'm not really sure.
We lost Trina for a moment there, but guys,
I'm back.
I wanted to take a minute to tell you all, go to Fightful.com, register absolutely free for the site. You'll get access to our forums, which are being overhauled. Columns from Showdown Joe and Vince Russo. Vince Russo does a Raw blog for us every week. Showdown Joe is chronicling his time at Ryzen this weekend as he did color commentary. Also, he's doing a column on Chris Cyborg, the 145 women's division, if it should or should not be in the UFC. You'll get access to those with a free Fightful.com membership. Also, early access to podcasts with myself and Vince Russo and Matt Riddle. Those go up Thursday or Friday. Some of you are wondering where they are on YouTube. For the first 2 or 3 days, we have them exclusive to members only on Fightful.com. So go there, register absolutely free. You don't need a credit card or anything of that nature. But you get those absolutely free and exclusively, like I said, for the first couple of days. You also have exclusive backstage news. I did a report on TNA Wrestling today. Their talent wants Billy Corgan to own the company. I talked to 6 or 7 people backstage from, I'm talking like employees, talents, all kinds of people. Dixie Carter is liked backstage, but they want Billy Corgan running that place. You'll also get at Fightful.com more live viewing parties than any other website on the internet. I'm talking everything on Fight Pass, everything from UFC, Bellator, Ryzen, TNA, Ring of Honor, WWE, NXT. We're doing Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza Friday, TNA Bound for Glory Sunday, UFC Portland on Saturday. Lots of stuff. You'll get Alex Pawlowski's reaction articles, 5 to 7 podcasts a week, financial analysis, our monthly Wikipedia True or False with a wrestling, MMA, or boxing personality, and exclusive interviews with the likes of Cyborg, Chael Sonnen, Daniel Cormier, CM Punk, Muhammad Hassan, EC3, former NFL star turned boxer Ray Edwards. Lots of cool shit at Fightful.com, you guys. Please join us. The main event segment, well, it was prefaced by Seth Rollins encountering Mick Foley backstage. Mick Foley says, "Don't get involved." Rollins says in not these words, but tells him to buzz off. We get the highlight reel between JeriKO and Owens. These two guys, Alex, are just great together. I love these two together. They're wonderful.
They really are. Like, I mean, they can make shooting the breeze about a TV into must-watch segment. It's $6,500 5 years ago, which is great that it's a 5-year-old television and that it was that expensive then. It's a great little details. Those guys are great together. I love it. I think that everyone seems to be waiting for one of them to turn on the other one. I hope they never do. I hope they never do. As long as JeriKO's still around, I hope that he and Owens are best buds. I hope it gets into like Step Brothers territory where they're like making nachos together and playing the drums. I think that they're
doing karate in the basement.
Exactly. But I really love everything they do together, and it was all of their stuff. Their taunting kind of feeds into one another. It's great. There's later in the match. There's a point where JeriKO's working over Enzo, and Owens yells, "Make him drink it," which is just a ridiculous thing to say, but so perfectly Kevin Owens.
Alex, you definitely made this show in covering it much better than it actually was. We had Enzo and Cass come out. They tossed around like it's weird. I mean, the gay jokes that they do. Here's the weird thing. They accused JeriKO of being Santa Claus, and JeriKO says, "Maybe I am. Maybe I'll sit on your lap." When the hell has Santa Claus ever sat on a kid's lap? And why the hell is that okay? Why isn't that the question that we're asking here? It's I don't get it. Trina, this is, you all tackle stuff like this on your show. Mm-hmm. The gay jokes, the shots and stuff. And I mean, with Enzo and Cass, maybe it doesn't seem as aggressive or offensive, but it still speaks a lot to the man making the final calls that this kind of stuff is still what is relied on. This and like ball jokes and poop jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah. The heteronormative jokes that Vince McMahon tends to love. I thought it was interesting that they put it right at the end of the show. I mean, because I didn't expect Enzo and Cass to come out, and they did, and they just came out and made some gay jokes, and it's problematic. And there are people in the wrestling internet community who are covering these subjects and trying to tackle it. I think the more that we talk about it, because I think that's probably the best way to explore a subject like this, is really the best thing to do. I mean, we cover it on our show a lot. I think other shows should cover it because we have a lot of, progressive people in the internet wrestling community who aren't very happy with it. I think Vince is pretty much the only one at this point who's still laughing. So it's like, let's talk about it. Let's bring it up. And hopefully, like, as the new generation of fans comes up, we have less of that.
Enzo and Cass lost the match. I'm okay with them losing the match because in storyline, these two guys have never been a really great tag team.
No, they lost the Shining Stars twice.
Yes.
Of course they've been
they've never been a good tag team.
They are not to be taken seriously at this moment in their career. Later they will be. Right now, no. So yeah,
I think all this goes into it. I think this losing streak really plays into that because maybe they're the ones that unseat the New Day eventually, but I think eventually Enzo has to start doubting himself publicly. And maybe, like I've said before, he's the one that eventually gets the hot tag and he's the one kicking all the ass. Mm-hmm. I think that's maybe a direction that they go, but you have to play on the emotions because I don't want to say the concussion was a good thing that happened to him, but that perpetuated the image that Enzo was weak, that Enzo is, what's the word I'm looking? Fragile, that he's fragile.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he gets his ass kicked all the time. He's always the one getting pinned. Mm-hmm. I think the only time Cass has been pinned is in that championship match. So, Alex, do you think they're ever going to pay this off, or are they just going to try to use these two like they have done before with people, these really popular guys, to get people over that they want over on the heel side?
I think eventually it'll pay off. I don't know when eventually is. I don't think it's anytime soon. Certainly not the way they're booking them right now. But I think they will. Remember, their whole deal in NXT was that they never got the championships. Their whole deal was they got really close a bunch of times and never quite made it over the hump. I always thought that they were eventually going to in NXT before they got called up, but they never did. So here, I think they can run the same gambit. They could do the same thing here on the main roster, where they keep getting shots and they keep getting close. They're always entertaining. You can bring them out to get the crowd hot whenever you want. But they're not going to be taken seriously until they're in a meaningful feud. I like the idea that they can always be a foil for JeriKO as long as they're around. If you need somebody just to bring out that they have an established relationship, they've fought each other in the past, so they can actually be this thing that they can bring out whenever you need them to have something for JeriKO to deal with.
We have some questions before we finish up on Raw.
Now, we missed a segment there.
What did we miss?
We missed Charlotte coming out and celebrating her title, and Sasha coming down. And long story short, we get a women's title match next week in Staples Center. But I did think that Charlotte's promo was really, really good. She's getting better on the mic every week, and she's dealing with the people really well. Like when. Excuse me, peasants, you can quiet down. Yeah. That's really good stuff. And Dana didn't get in the way. She was just there, which was nice to see. We can talk, if you'd like, about the rumor that they're going to push Dana Brooke as the top babyface on Raw, which kind of makes me just want to put a gun in my mouth. I mean,
I was told
I can't believe they would do that, but I was
told that's not accurate, by the way. I was told that's not true. Very, very Thank happy God. To hear that. Because as soon as I heard that, I sent a message to the two people that I know that would know, and the two responses I got were, I really don't think so, and I hope not.
Yeah, there you go.
Trina, what do you make of Charlotte's improvement on the mic?
Oh, she really does. She keeps getting better and better every week. And for me, I've noticed just how she's completely morphed into Rick at this point. Not just, like her mic skills haven't just gotten better, but even like the way that she carries herself in the ring, the way that she performs certain moves, she's completely Rick at this point. And the fact that she's been able to reach that level so early, I guess, in her career is pretty amazing to me. Because we all sort of know that she's already this natural athlete. Obviously, she looks amazing. But I think her improvement from when she was brought up to the main roster to now has been amazing to watch. She's just really fantastic. I thought she was great on the mic tonight. I agree. Every week she gets better and better. If you asked people maybe a couple months ago, they'd probably say she's a little wooden on the mic. It's a little unnatural. And she just kept going. And now it's like she's queen. I mean, she's gold on the mic right now.
Somebody asks, wonder where they're going with Nia Jax as a monster woman superstar. I think me and Alex tackled this last night. I think in the immediate future, probably something with Sasha. I wouldn't mind seeing it, whether it's for the title or not. Trina, where do you think this is going?
Well, I was hoping they were going to keep going with the Nia Jax and the squash matches. Like I know we all we love crazy, I'm blanking on her name.
Alicia Fox, yeah.
Alicia Fox,
yeah.
We like to see crazy Alicia Fox, but I feel like that sort of derailed that train because I really wanted to just keep seeing Nia squashing people every week and building her up to be this, actually I would have been fine, as her being the female Roman Reigns, like shove her down our throats. Like I want to see it. I think she needs some of that experience. And so it really sort of derailed this train by giving her Alicia Fox. And, I think a lot of people, I've been seeing a lot lately online, people have been fantasy booking, that when Tamina comes back, that Nia Jax and Tamina get together and they form like a power tag team. So it's a little disappointing.
There was a really great opening that they could have had for her tonight when Bayley was like, I don't know what my journey holds for me now. I thought for sure I was going to hear Nia Jax's music. And like, you just
like a missed opportunity.
You just squashed a jobber. That's my job. Now I'm going to have to squash you. Like something like that was just right there. And I don't know if they should have done it, but they definitely could have. And it was kind of maybe a missed opportunity there.
Well, then you got to beat one of them. Or maybe not, given WWE's recent trend. Maybe you don't because nobody loses.
Right.
Somebody says, do you all think that the WWE would ever consider going all network exclusive due to the downward trend in ratings? No, there's zero chance of that. There's too much money on TV. Also, they'd have no way to promote the network. So we'll move on past that. How would you make Anderson and Gallows good again? Well, there was a guy named AJ Styles who did a good job, Alex.
Yeah. I mean, breaking them up was very odd to me. It felt odd in the moment. It feels worse every week because he is attached to a rocket on SmackDown, and these guys are wearing concrete shoes and drowning in the East River.
Meanwhile, on SmackDown, you have the Usos who, if they were on Raw and they had this heel interaction, they had this heel turn, they could have those backstage interactions with Roman Reigns, maybe encourage him, things of that nature. You'd have that.
I always loved the idea of a heel bloodline. That name they gave the three of them together would be really great, of just these Samoan guys just you know, waxing people, you know, and not even caring about it. I think that would be a really great thing. So yeah, missed opportunities all across the board.
Trina, what would make you interested in these two guys again, Gallows and Anderson?
Gallows and Anderson. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much of the separation with AJ Styles was due to the fact that they had Finn Balor. You know, like I feel like a lot of storylines have changed now due to Finn's injury. So, you know, who knows? Because, you know, they teased it. They teased it a little bit. All four of them were in a backstage segment at one point. And so, you know, I think sadly for Anderson and Gallows with Finn out, you know, there's no real clear direction there. Because, I mean, say Finn was still there, you could tease that till WrestleMania if you wanted, you know? And so that's the bad thing for those guys. And then they're so talented. And so we'll see. There seems like there could be a lot of flip-flopping going on between the brands. So maybe we get something like that. Who knows?
Somebody asks if people who want Roman to turn heel are sadists, because it's generally going heel means they'll fling insults at the crowd. So it's a bit backwards, right? Not necessarily. It's just a matter of shaking things up, making things a little more interesting. Somebody asked, what do you think the WWE needs to do to ensure the cruiserweights stand out and not get lost in the shuffle, as they basically work the same high-flying style as the majority of the roster in 2016? Trina, your thoughts?
I would first of all not keep putting them in the third hour of Raw. Let's maybe have an opening segment with them, something. I mean, because I feel like at this point, the last couple of weeks, the third hour has been reserved for the cruiserweights and the women. And it's like, what is that supposed to mean? So I'd like to see them, you know, really put more of a spotlight on the cruiserweights, give us more of an introduction to certain people. I mean, there are coming into the WWE and people, you know, should know a little bit of their background, or even show a little bit of the Cruiserweight Classic, show, you know, what they did during that tournament. I mean, it's tough. I feel like they teased the cruiserweights for so long, and then they just shoved them in the third hour. It's, you know, into
no build,
oblivion.
No build.
Yeah,
the only build are those videos.
Yep.
Trina 777 wants to know what you think about Paige.
Oh, Paige?
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's a good start.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I don't know what the real news is, because I thought that, like, she had her own lawyers, and then I heard she was.
She does.
And
she does have her own lawyers.
She's still employed by WWE. Are they on good terms?
Yeah, absolutely. She's still employed by WWE. I wouldn't say good terms, but they're not firing her, and she's not getting out of her deal right now. If she really fought it, she could, but it would take a lot of money that CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio have. And maybe Del Rio wants to share some of that with her. She's got plenty of money, but money to fight that when she could just get paid to do her job. She was backstage again tonight, but I mean, it seems like she wants to keep going.
Right. No, I mean, it's tough. I keep getting conflicting news, and as a woman, I keep seeing, weird pictures of her looking like really gaunt and skinny, and because everybody wants to feed these rumors about Del Rio being like a drug pusher and all this different stuff, and it's just like I don't know what to believe. I wish her the best. I think she's super, super talented. I mean, when she came in, and I looked at her background, I saw that she came from a family of wrestlers. I saw it in her ability. She's clearly naturally talented, and so it's just I hope we can get it sorted out, because the last time something was sort of up in the air like this was like with Ryback or any of the other guys that just sort of drifted away.
Perfect transition.
Yay!
Time for the great news of the day. Ryback announced on the radio today that he has been in negotiations with Bellator MMA. Hot damn. Oh, God. Okay, so Ryback, I don't know how much he weighs legit. I have no idea how much he weighs legit. I don't know if he would fight at heavyweight or super heavyweight. Here's the thing, you guys. Bellator would absolutely sign him, and oh my God, I spoke to so many people. I was looking for somebody to tell me this news wasn't real. I was hoping that somebody would almost say, no, he's not, but no, he is, and he's very serious about it from what I understand. If he fights at super heavyweight, guys, here's the thing. He stands a real chance at doing well, because there are not a lot of super heavyweights over 265 pounds that are good, that are athletic, that are anything.
That are in Bellator.
They'd have to bring somebody in for him. They don't even employ super heavyweights. Alex, your thoughts when you heard this news? What was your reaction? Because I know what my reaction was, and it was, and I quote, "What in the shitting fuck?"
I just love the idea of Ryback just saying, "Well, I'm a big guy, so I'm gonna crush everybody." Like the idea of him, like, he might as well just just hang out on a street corner and you pay me $20 to fight. If you win, you get double your money. Like, he just wants to fight somebody. It just seems he's like so. I don't know. Ryback just seems like he wants just to be taken seriously in some way. This whole thing about how big guys aren't treated well in WWE. I mean, I don't know where he's coming.
You think he'll try to fight with his gloves and his forearm pads and his elbow pads and his arm pads and his knees and his shin pads and his ankle braces and his thigh tape and his neck brace.
Ninja Turtle. I hope he wears that ridiculous Ryback beanie to the ring.
Yes.
The Rybeanie. The Rybeanie was my favorite piece of merch for a while. Oh man, that was ridiculous.
Trina, I know you were excited to share your thoughts about Ryback in Bellator.
So actually, my first reaction was, and if you listen to our podcast, you know how I feel about Ryback. I feel like he's a ridiculous individual. But my first reaction when I saw that news come up was, this is so Bellator. I mean, it's just like, it is a freak show over there. This is the same company that brought you Kimbo, rest in peace, and Dada, and I thought I was watching like two people kill each other in the ring. I mean,
keep in mind. Well, no, technically, you did see
they did
Kimbo
kill each other.
Dada. He died
Dada
in the ring, and then later Kimbo died. So you did watch people kill each other.
It was really a very, very low point, and I've been an MMA fan now for more than 10 years, and just to see that, and to think, Kimbo passing on after that, it's just like, it's a freak show over there at Bellator. And so when I saw that news, I was like, yep, this is a perfect match, actually, between crazy and freak show. And the sad thing is that you do have some actual good talent that is over there. And I don't know what's going to happen to them. People like Rory McDonald and Benson Henderson, Josh Thompson.
Michael Chandler. Yeah, tons of guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can use these guys to promote those guys. But it wasn't like that. Like, when they did the Kimbo Dada fight, they also did Gracie Shamrock that night. And it's like,
oh, God.
Okay, why aren't you showcasing Mike Chandler? Why aren't you showcasing Pitbull or Daniel Strauss? Why aren't you showcasing Andrei Koreshkov or somebody like that? They don't do that. They got to do that.
Yeah. No, it's problematic that that UFC's only real competition is 80% freak show and like 20% actual talent.
So, Alex, you think they're going to book him against Ron H2O Waterman? Do you remember him?
I don't remember Ron H2O.
You don't remember him? He was in that OVW class with like Orton, Lesnar, Shelton. Okay. And it was like him and Rico were the two that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
And also best wishes to Rico. He's in bad health, but he and Rico were the two. Like if you look up all those dark matches from like 2002, you'll see a mixture of Shelton, Orton, Cena, Lesnar, and then like Rico and Ron Waterman are just tossed in there. Ron Waterman did a lot of MMA. I feel like he fought on the first ever show that Brock Lesnar fought on. I think so. Mm-hmm. So I watched that on one of those old hot box illegal, things. But he hasn't fought since 2008. But he was 16-6-2 in MMA. Well, but he's like 50 now, so they might bring him in because it's Bellator.
Bob Sapp, he's free.
I think they should do a thing where they do an invasion thing for Ryback into TNA and have him Lashley in both places. In Bellator and TNA would be kind of fun.
They could do it, but man, Bobby Lashley would beat the hell out of him.
Of course. Yeah. that would have to be like the second match. The one that where have the first one end in the schmaz in the impact zone. And then the impact zone in Bellator would actually just be the zone of Ryback's face.
Guys, I will have more information on Ryback to Bellator soon. Of course, Showdown Joe and I will talk about that Wednesday. Tomorrow night, I am on with Jeff Hawkins of Shake Them Ropes. We wanted to get into some more stuff tonight. Unfortunately, we're a little short on time. But then Wednesday, Showdown Joe. Thursday afternoon, Matt Riddle. Friday afternoon, Vince Russo. Then, of course, we have our weekend shows talking all those happenings as well. Register for Fightful.com to get early access to those Matt Riddle and Vince Russo shows. Trina, before we go, tell the people where they can find your podcast, where they can find you on Twitter.
Yes, they can find me at lastmarkstanding.com. That's our website, so that has our entire library. And I'm at the Marky Smark on Twitter. Lastmarkstanding.com. We have merch coming out this week, so keep an eye out on the website.
Saw that. You got some limited edition hats.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to a couple shows. So Des Moines.
You're going to all the damn shows.
I'm going to all the shows. So yeah, Des Moines, and then there's a show in Kansas City this Saturday. So those two cities are getting the privilege of being the first two to see the hats in person. So they can touch.
It's election season, so I'm ready for you to break out into like a Howard Dean and be like, I'm going to Kansas City. Going to New York. Yeah. Alex, tell the people about what you do at Fightful.com as our lead reporter and a columnist.
Yeah, I do live coverage for Raw and Lucha Underground, and then I have 3 reaction pieces that come out every week. Well, 4 if you count my mess roundup. That sounds for main event and superstars roundup. That comes out every Monday. But then I have the Uncooked Raw reaction, the SmackDown React Down, and the Midweek Wrestling Wrap Up. The M Triple Dub, that takes place, that covers Lucha Underground, NXT, and TNA, and that comes out before the weekends. You can follow me on Twitter at Pawlowski the Fourth. That's PAWLOWSKITHE, the numeral 4. TH. And a little special news from me in the real world. My wife and I just found out we're having a baby girl.
Hot damn.
Late January, early February. So I'm looking forward to that.
Woo!
Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah.
Guys, follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Fightful Online. Of course, check Fightful.com all day, every day. Your leader in MMA, wrestling, and boxing news. We do 2 to 3 dozen, usually at least 3 dozen news updates every day, all throughout the day. You won't go more than a half an hour or an hour without a new news update. Share us on Facebook, in Facebook groups, on Twitter, Reddit, all that stuff. Let people know about us. Your support is very vital to our success. I want to thank you all again so much. And until tomorrow night, we are out.